So when did I first hear about Juneteenth? I'm pretty sure I was an adult. During that time when I'm growing up in the 80s and 90s, it actually was more of a fad.
And I'm 23 now, so I've only known for like a year, so.
Me, it was eye-opening because, I'd heard about, the emancipation of slavery, the Emancipation Proclamation, and, slaves being free, but I had never heard about the holiday of Juneteenth until I think I was about 6th grade. My mother explained it to me.
Oh, wow, yeah, that's a good question. The first time I even heard about it was maybe about 15 years ago.
Found out about Juneteenth probably in 8th grade. I really didn't understand it at the time, but it hit me when I got into high school. It was in my senior year, and I said, why did it take so long?
I've known about Juneteenth since I was in elementary school. Both of my parents made sure that I had a deep connection to my culture and heritage.
When I embraced it and kind of told my daughter about it and we researched it and educated ourselves on it was about maybe 15 years ago. I'm glad from that point on we see more people embracing the holiday, and not only the holiday, just the culture itself.
African American history is not something that we have everyday exposure to and that we're taught in our culture. So many of us are not just now becoming aware of things such as Juneteenth. And so I don't remember, I'm pretty sure I was in my 30s when I found out what Juneteenth was.
Juneteenth was something when I grew up in the 80s, I'm 44. So when I grew up, I wasn't exposed to Juneteenth or any of things of that nature. Of course, I knew about, emancipation and everything like that, but it really didn't affect me, or in other words, I really wasn't that much of aware of Juneteenth and what the true essence of it was, because during that time when I'm growing up in the 80s and 90s, it actually was more of a fad. Like when people grab a hold, back in the day we had the bamboo earrings and then everyone wore the African medallions because it was a style.
So I found out about Juneteenth when I was 21 years old, which is just really bad. I think that it should be taught in schools, and that's why I'm so for this event, because it's not taught in schools and I shouldn't have to know about this date when I'm 22 years old, and I'm 23 now, so I've only known for like a year. So
Myself included, we have a lot of things that we were not taught in schools or even in homes. You have parents that aren't even educated. So I think as we educate ourselves, it's our duty to educate our children and our communities. So it's been about 15 years now since I've embraced and known about the holiday.
Yeah, so for me, man, Juneteenth is right around the anniversary when my mom was taken away at Mother Emanuel. So my mother was one of the victims at Mother Emanuel back in 2015 on June 17th, 2015. So when I think about Juneteenth, man, I think about her, I think about the families that we lost, but I also think about resilience, regardless of what I've been through, regardless of what my ancestors have been through. We talk about slavery, talk about being shipped over here, becoming slaves. I just think about the word resilience. And so that's what comes to mind when I think about Juneteenth going forward.
Yeah, so Juneteenth really just shows me that there's a lot more Juneteenths out there. There's a lot more people that are still enslaved mentally. There's a lot more people that still just don't know what resources and what opportunities they have. And I don't know how long it's going to take for them to figure it out, but I'm going to be the one to help them get to that point where they do figure it out and know that we all have the same opportunity. Let's fight for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I'm going to be that person to do that.
Especially in today's climate of racial strife, and as a black man in America, Juneteenth means so much to me. It's kind of a sense of liberation from the hostile and oppressive environment that mainstream America seems to put on us and our communities.
The proclamation that Abraham Lincoln signed actually only freed slaves in Confederate states. And so the bordering shoreline states, they weren't actually free yet. And so that's why we had to go into civil war and go into all these things that caused us unrest, because we knew that if one of us was enslaved, we were all enslaved. And so the fight had to continue.
It's freedom. It encompasses freedom, jubilee, a day of emancipation. So when we look at those specific words and we bring that fast forward into 2021, for me, it's more of a liberation for us as a community, the Black community.
So to me, this is just a day of remembering their legacy and what they went through in order for us to be able to live how we are able to live right now.
It's more than just a celebration for right now. It's a celebration of all of our history. It's a celebration of resilience and freedom. So please come out and join us.
I encourage everyone to take advantage of this year's Juneteenth celebration.
June 19th, where we are going to embrace our new freedoms, embrace our history, and also embrace our new future.
I will be out there. I hope that you will be out there. Let's come out, let's gather together, and let's fellowship.